Here's Frank Turek to explain why he thinks that atheism is unreasonable.
Welcome to the 1 Minute Apologist. We interview the world's leading apologists to provide credible answers to curious questions.
Frank, tell us, why is atheism unreasonable?
Well, in the book, Stealing from God, Why Atheists Need God to Make Their Case, I explain this. It's in the chapter on reason. And two reasons atheists are unreasonable. Not atheists themselves as people, but their worldview is unreasonable. Number one, they think everything's material. Everything's just molecules in motion. Well, if we're just molecules in motion, if we're just nothing but, say, moist robots, why should we believe any thought that we have?
If we're just spooky, woo-woo, immaterial spirits, why should we be any more confident in the reliability of our thoughts? Why would being immaterial give us any more insight into anything like, say, physics? Physics is the study of physical things. Why would a physical mind be less capable of understanding physical things than an immaterial mind? We know that human beings are fallible regardless of whether our minds are material or immaterial. So regardless of which is the case, we should always have at least some doubt as to the truth of our conclusions. I don't see why being material would be a reason to have more doubt than if we were immaterial.
Because every thought we have is the result of a previous natural cause over which we have no control.
So if we're immaterial, our thoughts are causally disconnected from one another? If each new thought that pops into our heads does so for no reason, then we have no control over that either. Regardless of whether our thoughts are caused or uncaused, I don't consciously decide what my next thought is going to be before I think it. So whether they are caused or not, I don't see how I have any control over them. And this seems to be a separate issue from the one Frank started with. He originally seemed to be arguing about the reliability of our thoughts. But what does determinism have to do with reliability? Why would determined thoughts be less reliable than free ones? If our thoughts about matter are themselves determined by matter, why would they be less reliable than free immaterial thoughts? Why would an immaterial mind be a better judge of what matter does than a mind that actually is something that matter does?
So atheism itself, if it's true, materialistic atheism, there's no way to show why it's true. Because we're not really reasoning, we're just reacting.
Why would reasoning itself not be a kind of reaction? And if it's not a reaction, if our thoughts are just free rather than being determined by anything, then how can we show that those thoughts are true? If our thoughts are not determined, then they're random. And why would random thoughts be more reliable? And even if it were the case that random free thoughts are more reliable than determined ones, it doesn't logically follow from this that our thoughts are therefore free and immaterial. Even if immaterial thoughts were more reliable, that doesn't mean that those are the thoughts that we're having.
That's the first reason atheism is unreasonable. The second reason it's unreasonable is because the very laws of logic that we're using right now and that the people out there are using to understand what we're saying are immaterial laws. They're not made of molecules. You're not going to find the law of non-contradiction in your wood shop somewhere. Oh, there it is, right?
Sure you are. You'll find it anywhere you take your brain with you. The laws of logic, like any other concepts, are activities the brain carries out. In that sense, they are material.
It's an immaterial reality, yet atheists are saying all there are materials. Well, if all there are materials, if we're again just moist robots, then there's really no way to know anything for sure. That's why I say atheism is unreasonable. It defeats itself. In fact, let me put it this way. Atheism has destroyed all tools necessary to do the job of discovering anything is true. Look, if atheism is true, there's no way to know atheism is true or anything else is true.
And how does being spooky random spirits make us any more able to know that anything is true?